Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am one of your hosts, the always too Taylor Field, and I'm joined by.
I am the devoted Kirkland Patzer.
Yes, we are here because, Star Wars. Star Wars Day, May the 4th happened, and we're here. Revenge of the 5th, Revenge of the 6th, whatever suits your boat.
I like it.
We're here to talk Tales of the Empire that just released. All 6 mini episodes of the anthology series. Very exciting. But before we get into that, a couple of plugs. You can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook. Also, do us a big favor and just take a look at our Patreon. We got ad-free, early available episodes up there for you guys to tune into. We have a lot of retrospective content that's popping off in celebration of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We got the every single Planet of the Apes movie retrospective available on there early for your entertainment. We also have all the Mad Max available on there as well for retrospective reviews, because in celebration of Furiosa, we decided to take that upon ourselves to dish out for you guys. We also are going to be starting our Alien retrospective. It's going to be a good time. In addition, we're also going to be doing our Strangers 1 and 2 retrospective. So there's just tons of stuff. It's crazy. What else have I missed? Oh, I know what I missed. Fuck, I gotta thank these fucking fantastic people. Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Muzz, and Sam. You guys are amazing. I'm trying to actually convince my wife to become a patron. I want her to... I might like
Just gonna force her into it.
Well, yeah, I might force her in, or I'm gonna plant the seed of like, I know what movie you should make us watch. Put it in her ear, but no, she has an idea of what she wants us to watch. So we'll see if I convince her to join a tier or not.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of what that movie is that she's
Yeah.
thinking of?
Oh yeah,
you know.
Spirit, the DreamWorks movie.
The horse one.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that movie.
No, really? I thought you guys would be down for it, because
we'll see if it actually comes through. But
we'll see, because we just did Hidalgo. That review's up there, so
yeah, that's true. Pretty similar.
Yeah, no Viggo
Mortensen.
No,
Yeah.
no, he's not in that one. What else have I missed? You got anything going on, Kirkland?
I don't know. I think you hit all of them. We got tons of retros going on, and you didn't forget any of them. We're not doing a Twisters retro, unfortunately, for the big Twisters.
I mean,
release.
we could do a one-off. I mean,
Is it just the one movie?
it's just one movie. Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna happen. There you go. A brand new retro, just formulated at the start of this. But we'll talk. I won't commit to that yet. But no, I think you got all the plugs.
Cool. All right. Well, I don't know. Do we do a non-spoilers for this? I guess we have to. And just a non. Yeah, we'll do a non.
Overall thoughts,
Overall.
yeah.
Yeah. So, my first question for you though is, did you watch Tales of Jedi? I can't remember if you.
I've seen
were on the
Tales of
review.
Jedi. Yes,
You've seen it.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe I was on the review.
Okay, and so my next, I'm sorry. My
That's
next
okay.
question is, how familiar were you with these characters in here in relation to the Clone Wars and other
Yeah.
Star Wars?
No, interesting enough, I haven't seen Ahsoka, and I haven't seen pretty much all of Clone Wars. I've seen a handful of episodes in there. Haven't seen any of Bad Batch, and what's the other one I'm missing? Rebels. I guess. Yeah. So there was obviously familiar faces that I did recognize in this, but for the most part, the main heavy hitters, I didn't know who they were. I've heard of them, maybe just like in anticipation of the show. I just saw their names and then knew that they were already established characters. But no, I was actually going in pretty blind for my viewing here, which was actually pretty interesting because I really like this, not knowing who these characters were. It was just like, it really much felt like a brand new story for me, with some, of course, familiar characters kind of crossing their paths. But no, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed one of the characters' story just a little bit more than the other one. But for the most part, I think both their stories were pretty solid. I think in hindsight, just because I did like the one story more than the other, I would have wanted more of a focus on that. But because it is 6 episodes, it makes sense to split them kind of down the middle in that aspect. But no, I went into it pretty blind, and I basically just finished all of it in one sitting. It is pretty short miniseries, 15 minutes per episode. I watched all of them except for the finale in one sitting. And when I came out of it, I'm like, man, I think I like that more than Tales of the Jedi, actually. like I was really into just the more darker tone of what this show is, and I am glad that they did that, because it's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be following more dark side of the Force with the whole Tales of the Empire. personally, I feel like it still ended a little bit lighter than than maybe I would have wanted. But at the end of the day, it is a Disney show. They kept it somewhat lighthearted of a finish for this show. But no, I was really really impressed by this, and I really want them to just keep doing these Tales of whatever stories. I know we got Tales of Empire, but I'm like, man, do it Tales of the Sith, and like just focus like only on that stuff more so than what the Empire is. I was kind of surprised because I did like a lot of the actual empirical imperial type not really politicking, but just more like peering behind the curtains of like what's going on in their like war rooms and stuff. It's not that that stuff isn't interesting. I just feel like how it's been done in other Star Wars media that I've seen has been a little bit weaker than what I know that they can do in the books and stuff. Like the Thrawn series, for example. I've never read those novels, but I just heard amazing things, and I was really intrigued with some stuff that was going on in here, particular with a certain character. But yeah, no, I was really really impressed by this, and I just want more. So I'll pass it off to you with that.
Yeah, I think I know that I would put Tales of the Jedi above this. I feel like the focal point of them tackling certain Empire storylines here was not. It was all really, really good and entertaining, but it was not all exactly what I was kind of hoping for and craving. I personally feel like there's probably just 3 episodes out of here that I really, really liked. That's it. I mean, that's 50-50 odds, I guess. That's not terrible. But I loved it. I loved probably like 4 to 5 out of the 6 with the Tales of the Jedi series. So I think they're on the right track. I just wish that a lot of these episodes were much more Imperial centric. And you're right. There's a little bit more, not a spoiler, but a little bit behind the scenes, behind the curtain in like the war rooms with certain Imperial officers. And I love seeing that. It's so wonderful to see all that. And then you get some cool dialogue that follows too. But I think that the follow-up with some of the characters that was done in this was great, and some of the things are very terrifying and freaky, and I think that they do a good job at making the Empire feel scary to a degree, but it's just, some of the storylines didn't really pull me in as much as it did for the Jedi stuff, and maybe it's just because I guess I'm biased. I like I'm craving the Jedi stuff more because I feel like we've been on the Empire's train for quite some time, although Thrawn stuff always gets me hyped. That definitely is top tier, but I think that hopefully this will give us more. I remember we were talking about rumors before, like, oh, they're looking at maybe doing Tales of like Bounty Hunters, Tales of Sith, kind of stuff like that, and so then we got Empire, but I hope you're onto something with the Sith. I hope we get that. That would be cool to get. High Republic, give us like a six episodes, a 3-episode arc with like Bane or Revan or something like that. That would just be so juicy, and that would people would be eating that up. It would be great.
It's so easy to do as well, like with the title system of Tales of the High Republic, Tales of the Old Republic, stuff like that. That could be really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tales of the fucking Confederate Trade Company.
Yeah,
just follow them.
Confederacy of Independent Systems.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah. The Trade Federation. I got nothing else I can add non-spoilers.
No, I'm ready. Ready to sploosh right in.
Sploosh. Okay, we're gonna take our first ad break, and then we're gonna get into some spoilers. And we are back. So, how do you want to do this? Do you just want to talk about everything as an overall? Actually, maybe like the first 3-parter and then the second 3-parter. How about that?
Yeah, we could do that.
Which one do you want to focus on first?
I'm gonna go in chronological order.
Okay.
And I'm also gonna start there because this was the arc that I actually was really interested in, the story of Morgan Elsbeth, which it's funny, I was talking to Travis just off cast the other night when we were playing COD, and like he said that he had lost some interest when he heard that like that was the character Morgan Elsbeth, and I don't know who that is, so I didn't have like any I guess biases going into it, but for what they showed of her story, I was really intrigued by it, and I thought she was a pretty interesting character where she is like pretty much a bad guy like throughout the whole part, especially comparing it to the other character that's focused, in the back half with the Inquisitor, Barriss. But I don't know. I think it's mostly just kind of her role and just the different places that she was at in her just throughout her life that was shown here. It's only like what 45 minutes of screen time of following her, but I still found it really interesting, just kind of seeing her village and at the beginning getting absolutely destroyed by Grievous and foes. And man, shouts out to Grievous, just one of the best designs of a character like ever. And man, Disney just loves just recycling his character too, because he is just so badass. They whenever they have like an era that kind of combines over with him, I feel like they're just gonna pull him and throw him in there, which is such a great idea. He's fantastic. I love Grievous. But anyways, just her like interactions between the stuff that happens earlier on when she is very just uh, weak, I guess, and like just alone because her whole village just gets absolutely destroyed. But later on, when she's kind of doing the more politicking and like playing along with the Empire, and then when she meets Thrawn and all that stuff, interacts with her, like she just also exudes like a certain commandment that I was really liking. So yeah, an interesting character that's not really like a Force user, but I still found her to be very interesting.
You would have seen her once in live action.
Really? Is
Yes.
it in one of the series?
It's in the Mandalorian series, season 2,
Okay.
when
It's
Ahsoka was
okay.
introduced.
I was gonna say, because that location that they're at, it seemed like one of the sets from
Mhm.
Mando. Is that the same place?
That's the
Like where
same
Ahsoka
place.
goes? Oh,
That's
okay.
exactly it. Yeah, so that's when you see Morgan Elsbeth and they take her down, and Ahsoka's
Oh,
like,
okay.
"Where's Thrawn?" So
I
now you
forgot that
know.
detail, but thanks for
Hmm.
shouting that out.
I think she's a really interesting character, and Ahsoka, the live action show, they really expand upon her a lot more,
Might have to
and
check that out now.
you really should, man. It's
Yeah.
good. Like, there's a lot of shit in there. I think you're really gonna like.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, the first episode it was actually, it caught me by surprise. I actually enjoyed it. I like seeing her come up from just being a young Dathomirian witch, and her whole village is basically executed. And this is the fallout too, because I'm not sure if you got this far in the Clone Wars. Um, Asajj Ventress, Palpatine was basically like, okay, Dooku, your apprentice is getting too strong. You need to axe her. So he was kind of reluctant about it, but he agreed, and he was going to try and execute her. She managed to escape, and then Mother Talzin, who is the Dathomirian clan mother, basically helped her, and they thought, okay, we're going to assassinate Dooku. And Dooku found out, okay, Ventress is alive, and like the Mother Talzin, the Night Sisters are trying to come and kill me. So they basically send Grievous and a fleet to Dathomir to destroy all of them, and that's why Grievous is here. And the whole
Hmm.
episode, he's just laughing, and he is such a cool character. Like,
Man,
I
his
love him, but
chuckle in this episode, yeah,
oh
just
yeah, his
laughing at them
chuckle.
getting murked.
Like when Elsbeth's mother says run, and then he just turns and he laughs and looks at her and is like, run, run,
Oh man.
run. It's like, this is fucking terrifying. I
Oh
love
yeah.
it. It was so good. And she has like, after the battle ends and she's sitting by the fire and she's kind of like daydreaming. And she's just, it's, I had the subtitles on, and it's like Grievous, ha ha, ha, like he's
Yeah.
laughing, and she's thinking about it. It's absolutely brilliant. I love that. But I think this is something I didn't know, was that Dathomir had other clans that were on the planet. And so this other group from the mountains that existed, it was really, really cool to see that and see how just equally powerful this clan mother was as well. And I like the quote that she dropped: just because I don't want to fight doesn't mean that I don't have the power to, or I'm not strong enough to. And she decimated that whole little fleet of droids. But Morgan Elsbeth learns a lesson here too of, I think, responsibility and taking action. And getting into episode 2 now, where you have her much older and you have Thrawn being introduced, Captain Paleon, really cool character. He's brought in from the Legends books of the original Thrawn trilogy. He's kind of hand in hand with Thrawn. We see him in Mandalorian season 3 as well, with the Shadow Council dealing with Moff Gideon. So we've seen Paleon in live action. He's mentioned in Rebels as well. This is the little alien that attacks Morgan Elsbeth. That's Rook, and he is a Nogri, one of the like compatriots of Thrawn. He's pretty cool. He's from the Legends book as well.
Hmm.
Um, but just, I love whenever Thrawn comes in, and just his demeanor. And even though the idea that the TIE defenders were not Thrawns. They were initially Morgan Elsbeths. I like that. I think that's really, really cool. And I think it gives justification why Thrawn is really advocating and pushing for the TIE Defender project to take precedence over Project Stardust, which is the Death Star. The other neat thing, too, in that political war room when Elsbeth is pitching this plan and the Imperials are like, oh, well, where are your factories, all that kind of stuff, and she just basically says this on this planet, and they just express interest like, we're gonna go take the resources. And it's very imperialistic, and it's very basic imperialistic, but I'm okay with that. Thrawn being in there to expand upon it and talking with her about how short-sighted they all are, and then just a portion of his fleet looming in was like, oh, that was chef's kiss. I really, really, really love that.
Yeah.
I believe sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that whole sequence was just so bad. I feel like that's also my first experience with Thrawn, like ever. Like him speaking, I don't think I've seen him anywhere else other than just the legends of.
Right,
of
I
you
guess you haven't
talking
seen
about him.
Rebels, yeah.
'Cause I haven't seen
Okay.
Rebels, haven't seen Ahsoka, so this is the first time I've like heard his voice and just the way that he kind of carried himself. And yeah, great first impression. I thought he was just fantastic, and
Oh, good.
the lighting of that sequence too, where it was like, it's dark, but like you can see them, but it's also not like super well lit, and the way that his eyes just kind of glow, like it's, man, this guy, like, just, I'm loving this character from just this first introduction here. So yeah, I thought it was great.
He's the perfect Star Wars character. He's incredible. Like bee's knees, top dog. That warms my heart that you said all that. There was, I think it was the beginning of this episode. There's a scene with the two Venators or multiple Venator class cruisers and then a Star Destroyer. I hope I'm not getting that confused with the Bad Batch. I think it was in here too. It was a fleet of like 4 Venators and then 1 Imperial Star Destroyer. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was this. I think it was the opening of one of the episodes.
It was the okay, yeah. With Bad Batch ending, it had a very similar scene, but just to see the scale of the Star Destroyer on par with the Venator cruisers, oh, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. But with Thrawn being an absolute delight and all that, we get the next episode, and this one was just kind of just meh. I didn't really need much of it. It just shows Morgan Elsbeth solidifying her position here. It was neat to kind of get a little bit of context that, okay, this is the Empire has fallen, so the New Republic is branching out, but Morgan Elsbeth doesn't give a shit, and that's that. This is probably, I would say this could be like a few weeks before Ahsoka arrives, because the comm that has that Bo-Katan pops off on the comm, like, who is this? Who is this? And then we know from Mando season 2 that Bo-Katan basically knew where Ahsoka was and had dispatched Ahsoka to come here to help. So there's a whole chain of intertwined storylines here that I really appreciate. I like that a lot. But yeah, overall, I'd probably give this like 2 out of 3 episodes I really enjoyed. So I'd give this like a 75%, like out of 100, like a stamp of approval. I
Nice.
really, really liked it.
for these
So.
for the first half of the.
Yeah, for the first
Yeah.
2 out of 3. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I see what you're saying with like some of your cons that you have for specifically this episode. I feel like this episode, even moments of the first episode as well, when she's speaking with the Mountain Tribe or whatever their name was, like a lot of like the interactions between those characters. It was pretty meh in my mind. Like some of the dialogue wasn't too interesting there. It was mostly just the focus on Morgan's character and kind of her role here. And I love the consequence of her actions and how they actually just like caused the death of the chieftain's daughter or whoever that character was. I liked how that was just shown from like the very get-go that like, yeah, she's on this path of revenge and there's going to be consequence with it. And I just loved how that actually played out. Second episode, I definitely think that was just like a 10 out of 10. just seeing again like her in the war rooms, basically just like doing her sales pitch on these Imperials, and they're getting what they're really after, and they're not really trying to hide it or like be. They're not trying to soften the blow. It's just like, yeah, we never cared about your presentation. We just want your resources. And her just kind of realizing that this is the reality of dealing with the Empire, and seems like a fucking waste of effort, especially on her behalf. But it led to her pairing up with Thrawn in the long run. So I just loved how all that played out. And then in the third episode, I think what I loved about this one was mostly just the effect of what this kind of the sub faction, I guess, like just like the grip that they have. It's okay. The empire is defeated, and they have this new republic, but it's not like that just changes overnight. And there is just still so much fear in this little town of where Morgan's kind of running, and she's very much just not afraid, right, of this Republican officer type character. So I just really like I think just the miasma of fear that the Empire has throughout like this entire first half of the show. So for ratings wise, I feel like it would be thumb and a half if we're going to the thumb scale. I don't know, eight out of 10, probably eight and a half out of 10. I think on those three. That translates over roughly from the 1.5 thumbs up. But no, I was really, really impressed by this. And I was kind of bummed because I thought that we were just kind of ramping up with this story. And then, of course, we jumped to the other character going forward. So I was a little bit bummed by that. I was hoping that we would like come back to it, not realizing that it was just 6-parter. Like I knew there wasn't many episodes, but I think just because I was watching them like back to back, I didn't really realize like when episodes were jumping. So I was hoping for more of that story, but yeah, it is what it is. But
Well, you got Ahsoka with this character a lot more in
there you
it,
go.
and it's sitting right now. After we talk tonight, you can go and binge Ahsoka.
Do these events too like cross over like with the show or like other parts of maybe Clone Wars or wherever this character pops up in?
Well, the characters Morgan Elsbeth has never popped up in the Clone Wars.
Oh, okay.
So she is definitely a new character that was created in Mando season 2. But I mean, the third episode, Path of Hate, we obviously seen the fallout of that. That was with the Ahsoka episode in Mando season 2. But everything else that continues from her story is all in the Ahsoka show. You get to see directly what's going on with her character and where that's leading to. So,
Nice.
yeah, I recommend it, man.
There you go.
Oh. Now I'm really curious how much you knew about our next arc here unless you have anything else to add on the previous one, but how much you knew about Barriss.
Yeah, no, I don't know Barriss particularly. I think all my interactions with Inquisitors have been what we've experienced them in the live action shows, minus Ahsoka. I don't know if they're in Ahsoka, but I guess Jedi Fallen Order. That was like my first introduction to them. I didn't play too much of that game, just kind of like the opening sequences. That was really just again my introduction to like the first sister, second sister, whatever the hell their ranking systems are. But no, I didn't know at all. I recognized the big cue ball dude, the big baldy from from Obi-Wan, of course. I like this version a lot more, but I was pretty in the dark. I will say, as just kind of seeing them going through their training. I'm such a sucker for those moments, man. Like especially when I was going through like the Darth Bane books and just like peering into like how brutal like the recruitment system is and how truly how awful it should be, you know, because it should just be like weaning out all the weakness and like really is just like the strongest man left standing. I love how the recruitment final trial kind of went, right, where it's just like, hey, these are the last two standing, we only have room for one spot. It's very much like the Dark Knight Joker's recruiter method, but no, I love that whole sequence. So the whole like training aspect of the Inquisitors and just like getting them up and running, I absolutely loved. I think I kind of tapered off once I don't know, like it's not even a bad story, but once Barriss kind of makes the switch and like just turns over, that's where it was just like, this is just kind of like a Tale of the Jedi type story now. Like it just seems like almost like a Fallen Order type situation, right? Where like you have this one Jedi that's had been hunted, and then I guess it's different. Cal was never an Inquisitor to my knowledge, but no, I didn't love this one as much as the other one for sure. I think just because of the actual subject matter of what it was, but it was still really cool to see the Inquisitors in action and get some red blades on screen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you some context about Barriss. Now, this is I think the second to last season, because when Disney was in the process of getting Lucasfilms, Star Wars was doing Clone Wars season 5, and then Disney bought Star Wars. Then they put out the Clone Wars season 6, like the lost episodes, basically. But season 5 had a really cool arc where a bombing happened at the Jedi Temple, and then it was proven that the person that did the bombing was executed and all that. And everything that was going on, it framed Ahsoka as being the murderer and the planner and the instigator of this. And the bombing at the Jedi Temple, it claimed lives. So Anakin went through this whole thing trying to prove that she was innocent, and with Palpatine pulling like the plugs here a little bit, it was at the point where Ahsoka was going to be executed for her crimes against the Republic. It was bad, and the Jedi Council was not supporting her or standing by her. It was only Anakin. So with Anakin's investigation, Asajj Ventress was brought in briefly, and they managed to figure out that Barriss Offee was the actual perpetrator here. And you get an intense scene where Anakin walks into Barriss's room at the Jedi Temple, and he's very calm, and he's trying to instigate her a little bit, and he does that. And then Barriss had stolen Ventress's lightsabers and was using them, and so Anakin and Barriss are moving around the Jedi Temple in a fight. They're fighting each other, and it gets so intense with the score and everything that eventually Anakin just is force choking her and holding her back, and like it's the craziest shit. I loved it. She gets arrested, Ahsoka gets vindicated, and Ahsoka chooses to leave the Jedi Order because not even all the Jedi apologized to her, but they offered her a chance to come back to the Order, but she's like, no, I'm out. So that's how she leaves the Jedi Order. Barriss was imprisoned, and now here you have the continuation of her story. Shoutouts, Barriss is actually in Star Wars Attack of the Clones and the Battle of Geonosis briefly. But yeah, so we see her here, and I think it's interesting, and I love how her journey in this episode, I guess throughout all these episodes, but the reflection of this and her journey shows that the war really just crushed what the Jedi were supposed to be. And that's one of the reasons why she bombed the Jedi Temple, is because she sees the Jedi now, like their decision is really only to act on violence, and it's not the Jedi way. The Jedi need to be very different. And I think while she went through a dark path, she definitely reaffirms herself as a Jedi. And I like how at the end of her arc, she has really chosen, to me, she is what a Jedi really, really should be. It's unfortunate that she bombed and killed innocent people. That's not good, but she definitely has gone through this journey and this change to really achieve what it means to be a guardian of peace and to help, and just to be a defensive prospect of a Jedi Knight. And I just are really, really happy to see where this character has gone and where she ended up. But in this episode particularly, it was crazy, crazy good seeing all three of them together and just their recruitment process. One of the Inquisitors there does appear in one of the other live action shows, but then of course you have the one Inquisitor, I can't remember which title he was in Tales of the Jedi. You see him die in Tales of the Jedi. You probably recognize him with like the bone beak helmet. And then you get the Grand Inquisitor, who we've seen already, and then Lin, who we've seen in Obi-Wan as well. And then just I love this scene so much when the Grand Inquisitor is like, prepare to meet your new master, and Darth Vader just comes in. Yeah. There's a part where he sits down and it's a close-up of his helmet. The animation looks so fucking phenomenal. It looks like it's an actual real person sitting in this chair with the Darth Vader suit on and just the helmet. The quality was immaculate animation. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you keep going. I'll jump in.
Just in conclusion of this episode, I just loved the tension and how the last time these two characters, Barriss and Anakin, were face to face was when Anakin was just force choking the shit out of her and was arresting her, and now here we are, and she doesn't know that's Anakin.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I didn't know that was Anakin. That scene would have been so much more intense if you did know that little detail there. But that sequence was already just 10 out of 10 in my mind. Just also like realizing from like Barriss' perspective, like this is her life now. Like she's at the end of her training here. This is who she's working for. And then like the Grand Inquisitor just has such a presence and like commanding force to him, but then the second that Vader comes through like the door, like even he like kneels down, and they all just like totally like give their respect to the fucking, that's Darth Vader, man. That's the chosen one. Like
you're kneeling in your living room down too.
Oh yeah, exactly. While I'm watching it. Don't look up. But no, that sequence was so well done, and yeah, no, it was awesome. Thanks for
Hmm.
the little detail. That's really interesting.
No problem. I think that little fight scene that they had too, when the Grand Inquisitor is like, "You both could choose not to fight, but you both will die." And I like that Barris was apprehensive, like we don't have to do this, and the other guy is like, "Fuck that," and he just like goes in to like kill her. That was crazy, especially because he seemed like he was kind of a kind person before,
Yeah.
but we don't know what he had to do in his test when they split them up separately. So yeah, it was just that was freaky deaky. How'd you feel
Yeah,
about
that's good.
the other two episodes?
Yeah, so the next one, Realization, that was where she kind of makes the turn. I did like the I guess the town interrogation where they're looking for the Jedi, and obviously what was the one character's name? Lynn.
Lynn.
You have Lynn that's like a lot more of the stereotypical, Empire looking for the Jedi, just yelling at everyone. And I like that you had Barris that was still like on the Empire side, but like she kind of had a more tactful approach, less aggressive than Lynn, and just trying to get the answers, but like still trying to, I don't know, be somewhat kind. And like although it is a nice way that she got the information, like she is still hunting Jedi and gonna murder these Jedi. So like it's just an interesting, I guess, way of seeing how the Empire, these Inquisitors can do their investigating, because it's not how it's normally shown, right? Like normally it
Mm-hmm.
is the more Lynn approach where she's just straight up ready to murder people. Um, yeah, no, I liked all of that. I did like the moment when Barris makes the turn and like just force pushes her off the cliff there. Like it's just like a really intense moment, and I love it because at no point am I thinking that Lynn's dead there, but it's like, oh man, like she just like she just basically has a death warrant on herself now. Like she's gonna be coming not only for that Jedi but for her now. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just thought it was really intense of a scene, and yeah, no, it was really really good. I think my cons with it was just more so like the decision to just focus on this character's kind of redemption side as opposed to just focusing more on the actual maybe Inquisitors, and like just focusing on that and like really just making it feel like a dour story, because they're not good guys, and I would have wanted just more focus on that as opposed to um this character that's definitely veering back to the light side by the end of it. But I still think the execution of the episodes is really well done. It's just don't really like the decision to go that route. But no, like the final kind of duel with Lynn when she comes to the cave. I thought that was like somewhat lackluster, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just like, okay, yeah, that's how that happened. And I also felt like Lynn's whole redemption in that moment, it just seemed very very fast and like not really earned, I guess. Like maybe it's tough because you only have these 3 episodes to really like show this little like turn of the morals, I guess, by the end of it. But yeah, it just seemed a little bit quick there. But no, I still think it was well done. I did laugh when like you have Lynn that's just like totally getting mind fucked in this cave. Like there's no way to get out, and like really Morgan, or sorry, not Morgan, Barris is just like fucking with her, like taunting at her, like like you don't have to die in here. Why does she have to like approach her and get that close? She just turns and like takes the lightsaber right to the stomach.
That
It's
was a
like
bad call.
bad judgment call there, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was necessary to turn Lynn. Maybe she wouldn't have turned in that moment, but yeah, I don't know. I still think these 3 episodes were just not as interesting as what was shown with kind of Morgan's growth of a character in the first half. That's why I would give my favoritism to that side of the story, but I still think it was good.
Yeah, I don't. Well, actually, I'll take a quick ad break and then I'll get into my thoughts. And we're back. So I don't actually know the fate of Lynn because, I mean, as far as I'm aware, she was a character that was created during the Obi-Wan show. I don't remember seeing her at all before. So that being said, where she is here with Barris, I don't know if this is after or before Obi-Wan. It's interesting to know because if it's after the fact of Obi-Wan, then yeah, then very well we could see her actually having been turned and she leaves because we never saw her in Rebels. So maybe that's kind of the gist here. Maybe they're implying that Barris successfully does bring her back to the light a little bit. So that'd actually be a cool redemption arc. this this scene here where we get Barris and Lynn going into the village and Barris approaching the child and just really being on his level, engaging. It was very much very Jedi-like at times, and you could kind of get a lot of sympathy from her character. I really appreciated that. And then when Lynn was choosing to act out of anger and violence because the guy lied to her, just the this is I guess to a slight degree a kid's show, but just the terrifying vibe and atmosphere that emitted from this when it pans to outside this little patio area and you're on the outside of the walls and you hear the screaming and the red swim around and the lightsaber red blasting through the wall. It's like, fuck, there was like 30 miscellaneous innocent villagers here and she just killed all of them. And I thought she was going to kill this kid for sure, but no, that's thankfully not the case. But yeah, it was very interesting to see the fight, I guess, because Barris saves this Jedi and pushes Lynn off the cliff, and then we continue on where Lynn approaches Barris here at the camp because we've jumped ahead multiple years, and Barris is now basically acting like a healer. It seems like she was implying that she's still in cahoots with Ahsoka now because she sent her team off to go and meet with an old friend who had helped them. And we have Lynn approaching. I really thought this was Darth Vader, and I was getting so fucking giddy. I was like, oh man, this is going to come full circle. I really am excited for this. But it was Lynn. It was okay. I guess it makes sense because they're friends.
Major
but man,
step down.
Oh, it was a major step down. If that was Vader, fuck, this would have been like a 10 out of 10 show just to get them fight again and for her to figure out, like, you're Anakin? Oh, my, oh, what could be? What could have been?
I just feel like there's no chance that would have been a close fight though. Like Vader just would have
No.
walked up. She doesn't even have a lightsaber. Like he just forced.
He would have been in the
her down.
cave. She would have been taunting him,
Yes.
freaking him out.
You'll never get out of there.
Yeah,
You'll never get find the way.
You
She's
never
like
get
giggling like fucking Grievous.
But I'm kind of on a similar plane here. These two episodes are just they're downhill for me. That first one of this little arc was wonderful. I think it hit so many things strong and so many things right. But yeah, with this, not much, not much going for me. So I don't have anything else I think I can add to this. If you do, speak now, or we can get into our final thoughts.
I did like the I forgot to shout them out in the earlier episodes, but those bows that they had, like the laser bows that were shown in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a new weapon. Probably not. It's probably shows up in Clone Wars or something.
It's in
But
Clone
they
Wars,
look
yeah.
sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're very cool.
That's all I have to shout.
That's all.
out.
Okay. What's your overall here, and where do you place it with Tales of the Jedi?
Yeah. I think like I was saying earlier, like when I first finished this show, I was like, man, I think that is stronger than Tales of the Jedi. But after it was done, I just went back and didn't watch all of Tales of the Jedi, but I was just like looking up some of the episodes. I'm like, I think I would probably put this up a little bit higher. Sorry, Tales of the Jedi above Tales of the Empire slightly, just because of some of the lesser episodes that we were mentioning here. They just kind of bring it down a little bit too much, but those high moments really carried it and made me think that perhaps the overall episode quality was just right up there. And like, I don't want to sound too harsh, like the episode quality is still really good, but just some of the focus on what they were doing with the character stuff to show and what they wanted to do with some of the characters. I think I would have wanted a little bit more of a darker tale. Like I wanted it to feel like at the end of this, like, oh wow, like Tales of the Empire, like the Empire bad guys, and not feel like, there's hope out there, because there shouldn't when it comes to the Empire in my mind. But no, I still think it's really solid. I don't know what I don't I'm trying to remember how we did Tales of the Jedi. Did we give it episode by episode or just one overall rating by the end?
Memory
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I don't remember, unfortunately, but I would put this slightly below it, not too much lower, maybe like one full point or maybe half point below it. I still think it's really good, and I want more of these. Keep them coming, Disney and Star Wars.
Yeah, I would rank Tales of the Jedi above this. I think that it just focused on stories that I liked a lot more, and getting focused on time periods that were outside of what we've had consistently already. Like a little bit of pre-Clone Wars stuff was really, really cool. But I think that these stories, though, definitely do characters justice and are great at kind of adding more context to characters' stories that have been written, are in the process of being written about, or have just kind of been left open ended. So I think that there's a little bit of something here for everyone to really enjoy. And I like how spread it is across the time, where you have it still Clone Wars going all the way to the time of the New Republic and a little bit there in between. So I think they cover a lot of really neat ground, but the stories I wish were a little bit stronger and more Imperial centric. I would have taken one full episode of those Imperial officers in that room, just squabbling and squawking. And just put Thrawn in there just to deal with them. I would have loved something like that. The Tales of the Empire, like we didn't even get Sidious in here. Vader was an absolute delight. I love that. But Sidious in here, bring back Ian McDermott. Just he's fantastic in Bad Batch as Palpatine, just utterly incredible. So there's a lot more in here that would have been really, really welcomed in regards to the Empire. So that's it. And I think you're right. The episodes like The Way Out and Realization do feel very, very hopeful. Those don't feel like Empire-centric episodes. It just feels like Barriss. It feels like a Tales of the Jedi episode. Again, it's just it is what it is. But I would give this whole show probably a 7 out of 10, which I feel like is still positive. It's high, but it's not too high because it's not focused on some things that I would have personally chosen. Thrawn makes up at least 5 of those points. He's 50%, and then the 1.6 is the Grievous episode, and then the 7th point is the devoted first one with Barriss being recruited. So that's how I rank it.
I like the point breakdown.
Yeah. Well, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to this breakdown of Tales of the Empire. We may do a quick coverage of Kirkland, maybe not. Maybe are you gonna jump for that? A quick coverage of the Acolyte trailer that dropped for May the 4th.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, we'll see you guys in a couple seconds here then, if you stick around. So we'll be back next time.
Bye.